Okay, let's go back over here. Okay, let's see what we can find on Jeffrey Epstein. I know they said Donald does not want to talk about Jeffrey Epstein, so let's see if we can give Jeffrey a platform. Jeffrey, um, oh, now, oh, well, this is completely different what someone else was saying. There was a woman saying that they didn't want to talk about Jeffrey Epstein, and now, okay, House cancels votes amid fight over Jeffrey Epstein files. So, um, okay, so 11, these are just like recycled stories, I guess. So what it's saying is Congress will subpoena Ghislaine Maxwell to testify about Jeffrey Epstein. Now, how is that possible? Because I thought they said that Jeffrey Epstein was in, or that Ghislaine Maxwell, I thought they said she was in prison or something, or she spent time in prison. And so now um, uh, it's possible that she went to prison for no reason. Isn't there a universally recognized feminine form of the name Jeffrey? However, some less common feminine variations and nicknames include Jeffra, Jeffrina, and Jeffy. Um, so they're looking for, I've never heard of those names. Jeffra and Jeffrina. Jeffrina. Ephra. I like the name Ephra, actually. Ephra is kind of a pretty name, even though it's challenging to say. Ephra, Effie. Um, you know. So we're talking about Jeffrey Epstein today because what is the female version of John? The female version of John is Joan, Jane, Joanna, Jonna, and Jean. But we're talking about Jeffrey Epstein related to Congress is going to subpoena Ghislaine Maxwell, it sounds like, for some reason. I'm not sure why. The president doesn't want to talk about Jeffrey Epstein, so I think it's when the president says he don't want to talk about Jeffrey Epstein, I think that that could be a sign of a huge, huge cover-up. What is the White House covering up? And so Jeffrey needs a platform. The House cancels vote amid fight over Jeffrey Epstein files. An accuser's story suggests how Trump might appear in the Epstein files. Now, something else I noticed is there was a woman who had a book related to Butler. And I know Jeffrey has nothing to do with the book related to Butler, and we'll get back to him in just a moment. But I was listening to her this morning for a little bit because I haven't watched a whole lot of TV, but I watched a tiny, tiny bit today. And so the woman already has a book out about Butler from a year ago related to what happened to the president while he's president. So she wrote a story. So apparently she was just some off the wall woman who wrote a story. Now Stormy Daniels could not write a story. Hello, Kakoi, and Simply an Artist Draws. Hello. Hello, you guys got your shout outs there. I just gave you your shout outs. If that's what you were looking for, you got them. I don't always like to use the word all the time. Do you have anything you'd like to add about the Jeffrey Epstein files or what's going on with all of that? Does anyone have anything they'd like to add? Any questions they'd like to ask? I'm hoping that Jeffrey will show up into the chat. You are welcome. Simply an Artist Draws. So if you start having a conversation, I may not be able to always say your name, but who have we got in here right now? We've got Kakoi, Simply an Artist Draws, Kakoi, and Simply an Artist Draws. Kakoi VR is, I hope I said it right. We've got two people. Why did I think we had three? But no, we've got two people in here. You both have really pretty avatars too. They're really, really pretty. So let's go back over here and we're going to take a look. An accuser's story suggests how Trump might appear in the Epstein files. Mr. 12 Gauge, good day from Australia. Hello, Mr. 12 Gauge. Are you interested in the Jeffrey Epstein files that we have going on here in the United States? Because it's a big story. Well, the press or someone is turning it into a big story, and so apparently it seems like there might be a big cover-up or something taking place related to Jeffrey Epstein because the president does not want to talk about it. He wants to bury the story of Jeffrey Epstein along with everything else that's going on. He just wants to bury all of it. Yes, please subscribe. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe. Now, I'm not going to hound on that too much because um, I'm just not going to. Okay, wait a second. You're going to change your profile picture? Okay, you go right on ahead and change your profile picture if that's something you're inclined to do. Um, so you know what was funny though too? I put weather in another live stream, and after 2 minutes, I got absolutely no views at all. And so what I put in the title in my metadata was I left in my the first part of my title, and then I put in the weather. It's hot outside. And I got nobody watching. I had one person bounce in and leave right away. Well, thank you so much for watching Simply an Artist Draws. I do have a lot of drawing on my channel. I do have a lot of drawing, and I have some crochet. You mean, I know, nobody really cares about the weather. You go outside, you see it's hot. There's no reason. Oh, this is the other question I wanted to ask. How many of you have watched the weather on PBS? And did you know the United States government has been funding weather on public broadcasting service? So Mr. 12 gauge. Oh, this is Mr. 12 gauge. Oh, I know what you might be. I was thinking 12 gauge as in like a 12 gauge wire or something like that. Now, Mr. 12 gauge says a lot of people on that list, but some did expeditions with him on his private jet. They only want to bury the names of who went to the island. Okay, thank you so much for subscribing, Kikhoy VR. Thank you so much. Thank you for subscribing, Simply Artist. I'm glad you guys are subscribing. Thank you. And okay, so they did expeditions. Do you mean expeditions or exhibitions? Like both probably. I think they probably are very similar words. Expeditions on his private jet? I didn't know Jeffrey had a private jet. You're teaching me something new today, Mr. 12 gauge, that Jeffrey had a private jet. I don't know. I'm trying to be smart with words. I always have the thought process of keep it simple, because of the fact that it's like, I don't want to have to be going to the dictionary every time someone uses a word I don't know what it is. Attorneys are notorious for doing this all the time. They use words that I have no idea what they are, and then they expect that I'm supposed to understand what they are and what they mean. And when they put it inside of a legal document, it's like, I don't have a dictionary with me. Do you provide a dictionary at the attorney's office? Because the attorney really needs to give us a dictionary, a legal dictionary, for free, so that when we take our paper home and we look it over by ourselves. I mean, I'm really surprised that we're not told to get a second opinion from the attorney, which a lot of times we are told that pretty much. And I'm supposed to understand what the legal document and the legal wordings mean, and I have no idea. I like simple words. Keep KISS, keep it simple, stupid, please. Okay, so he had a private jet. People went to certain countries with him, but not all of them went to the island. Oh, keep telling the story. This is getting very intriguing because I don't know what's going on with Jeffrey Epstein, but the story is just heating up like the heat outside in the summertime. It's this Jeffrey Epstein story might be the downfall of the president, or he's just going to finish his 4 years and we're going to have a couple more years of summers with some more stories made up. I don't know what's going on, Mr. 12 gauge. Maybe you can fill me in and give me some insight, because I don't know. I know that the more someone tries to suppress something, the more they have to hide. I guarantee it. The more they try to suppress someone else, and they don't want someone else to talk, the more they censor, the more that the opposition has to hide. There's some nefarious, felonious things taking place. Okay, so I already read that part. So Mr. 12 Gauge says he had a private jet. People went to certain countries with him, but not all went to the island. I did not know that. Oh my, I did not know that. I mean, where else would I have found that out? Um, so now I guess there's people, maybe some government people or someone who's leaking stuff to media now. For those of us who, I'm not going to call myself news because I think that's ridiculous. I don't want to add into that. I'm just me. I'm just sharing things with people who are interested, who might look at it, because the other entities are not interested in reporting on Jeffrey Epstein. And oh, I have something else to share too, but let me read this part first. So Epstein had links to Mossad, and they will do everything in the will to hide the evidence. Whoever went to the island was royal, super famous, or billionaires. Oh, they were royal. Now there was a woman. I'm trying to think. I should have written it down how she worded it. She was on C-SPAN earlier today, and she said she made up an excuse, and she was saying that the press corps is more mobile and transient than they've ever been in the past. And so she was saying that when they go into these small towns like Butler, they're not as interested as reporting on roads and bridges of small towns as what they once were, because she said that it's been made worse because they got rid of the local. This is her excuse. She said they got rid of the local reporters, so now they're not going to report on bridges and roads anymore. And it's like, well, okay. Well, I don't know how big of a town. Please keep sharing, Mr. 12 Gauge. I'm going to read what you have to say, unless you're listening. You can share more with me about Jeffrey Epstein. But I was going to look to see how big Butler, Pennsylvania is. Let me see. Butler. B-U-T, Butler, Pennsylvania. Butler, Pennsylvania population. That's what I wanted to see. Oh, 13,000 people. So they're a relatively small hit town anyway. They're not that big. It's only 13,099 people. He did. Ozzy Osbourne died? Oh my goodness. I didn't know that. That's kind of sad. I mean, I liked the old man. I thought he was kind of funny at times. I had no idea. Prince Andrew is guilty as they come, and I believe Trump is on there too. Yeah, Trump most definitely. Jackie Ridley. Yeah, there was a guy named Jack. Was it Jack Ridley's? Believe It or Not. Ripley's Believe It or Not. Grayson Levon or something. Yeah, I believe you. Absolutely. Yeah, I know Trump is guilty. It's been proven, and he's delaying the inevitable. He is just dragging this out. It's kind of like you have an open wound, and you went to the doctor, you had some stitches, but you pulled the stitches out too early, and your wound opened back up again. And so then you go to the doctor, you get it fixed again, and you pull the stitches out yourself, and and the wound is opened back up again. So he's just delaying the inevitable, is what he's doing. Yeah, I kind of forgot about Prince Andrew going to the Epstein Island, because I knew Prince Andrew had been in a lot of trouble. Raunox says, 1 year clean now, struggling with drugs since 2018. Well, congratulations. I'm glad you're clean now and you feel better about things that are going on, because, that can probably be a hard struggle. I'm glad I've not, the only thing that I could compare to that would be childbirth, and the only reason that I compare childbirth is women struggle with depression upon the time of the hormone changes and things like that related to having a baby. And so that could be a little bit comparable, so I'm glad you're off the drugs and you're feeling better about yourself. That's not something I ever thought that I was never interested in judging people for that, because of the fact it's like that's a personal struggle, and big pharma adds to it. The prescription side adds to it and makes things harder. Now, what Renaud said was unable to stand up on my feet again, feel like a burden to the family. Got any advice? Um, I, the only thing I can say is take, for myself, I have weakness because of an injury. And so your injury might be a little bit different from my injury. But mine is from falling and having injuries. And so I think there's a combination with me, probably some bad food I ate, and then falling, I have nerve damage. And then now I'm doing a little bit better with the emotional side of things. I'm doing a lot better with the emotional side of things. I'm starting to feel better now. I about 4 years from everything happening. And that's what I said. When something traumatic happens, it takes a long time. It takes a long time. So just be prepared for maybe a little setback or every once in a while. But, I know what I can share with you, Renaud. On Amazon, now I had some little bars. Now, if you have $100, and I'm not saying that that I don't want to know about your money situation. I'm just saying that they have some bars on Amazon, and these were working for me before they got taken away from me so abruptly. There's some bars on Amazon, and they're kind of like little individual fitness bars where if you have trouble walking, you can do some deep leg bends. And I was actually finding I was making a tiny bit of progress at the time, because I spent $100 for some leg bars, and I was trying to stretch my back where I had the nerve damage at. But then my ex won the house in the divorce, and so I didn't have those to be able to help myself at home, and that's what I was trying to do. So you said you're unable to stand up on your feet again. You feel like a burden to the family. No, I hope you have a wheelchair. If you have a hard time standing up, I hope you have a wheelchair to be able to wheel yourself around. Or if you have like a cart, one of those push carts. Well, you can't stand on your feet again. So are you completely in a wheelchair, Ronak? Are you completely in a wheelchair where you can't take care of yourself at all? I mean, that's what I'm concerned about here listening to you, is that you're it sounds like you're in a wheelchair possibly, or a wheelchair situation, and you don't want to rely on your family. I mean, I don't know what to say about that, because I thought the government was taking care of people in wheelchairs, and this is not a laughing situation. It's only laughing at because Trump is so ridiculous with what he's doing. He is abandoning people who are assisted living and senior citizens and people in wheelchairs, like military veterans who have been traumatically injured and they need help and assistance, and people who need physical therapy. So Mr. 12 Gauge says, he said he will release the files, and now we want to sweep it under the rug. Anyone who is guilty would do that. Absolutely. Mr. 12 Gauge, I have something to tell you. Mr. 12 Gauge. Okay, this is how I think of it. So, for example, and I use myself as an example because that is all I have. That's all I have. Now, my second husband, he knew he was guilty with what he did to me. And so he was always talking about, how do I say this without keeping well, in his situation with his people, he said they didn't want to go to jail anymore. He said they wanted mental health treatment to go to a mental hospital instead of jail, because he said they felt like they could get better help at a mental treatment facility than jail. And I started thinking about that after he did what he did to me, and it's like, well, wait a minute. I mean, don't criminals use mental insanity all the time because of the fact that they want to get away with a crime? So they claim they're mentally ill. I mean, mental illness and temporary insanity is something that has been on television for a long time. Now, I mean, so when I think about that, it's sort of like saying, well, there is an epidemic of social influencing on the traditional television legacy media of people who have used mental illness as a as a way to try to get out of a crime. So it's like, well, you're trying to get out of a crime. Now, Trump is not claiming mental illness, but I agree with you. He wants to sweep it under the rug. Absolutely. A guilty man wants to do that. Mr. 12 Gauge says, hello, Roanoke. You said hello, and you're in third place here with your crown. Mr. 12 Gauge is number one with his crown. Princess Diana had a lot of heat on Prince Andrew and had evidence to expose him. She later died in the car crash. Oh no! You're not telling me that Prince Andrew had something to do with Diana's death? It wasn't Dodi al-Fayed, so the guy from the Middle East got blamed for it when it was maybe Prince Andrew, because you know what? Back when that happened, wasn't it 1996 or 95? What? Okay, let me look and see what year. What year did Princess Diana die? Okay, what year here? I gotta look that up. Okay, 97. So it was 1997. And even where I was, that was the first year I was on the internet. The very first year I was on the internet. And there was evidence, or there was some dialogue back then, that they were saying that someone had said they thought the royal family put a hit out on Diana. So Mr. 12 Gauge says one of the victims on Epstein Island, who was abused by Prince Andrew, fled to Australia, then died in a car crash classed as a suicide. Sounds suspicious. I agree with you, yeah. So Roanoke says, that's where some nicer insights. Thanks. Your related words were wise. Okay, what words did I use that were wise? Words like, are you referencing like people being abandoned who need help? Because I'm concerned, Roanoke, that you are someone who is a paraplegic, possibly in a wheelchair, and you've been abandoned. You said your family can't help you, and so I don't know where you would get help at taking care of yourself. And that's what I'm reading from you. I don't know where you would actually get help from. Because I know a lot of those facilities, well, that's something that was discussed. A lot of those facilities, that's been a hot topic of discussion. The retirement assisted living and the, what do we call them? Well, a lot of times people who have traumatic brain injuries from, be that drugs or be that nerve damage. Traumatic brain injury is something that is sufficient for someone who has had a negative reaction to drugs. Yeah, I mean, we can say that there's people who have side effects from drugs, so which means that you had a traumatic brain injury. I don't see it any other way. And so someone who has had, we don't need to know that someone, whether it was a street drug or whether it was a pharmaceutical drug that was prescribed by a doctor, they had a side effect from a drug. And so the rest of it tells too much information. And so I don't like the fact that people are judged because of the drugs that they do. Because it's just gotten out of hand. And so we know we have a big problem in this country with drugs, be that pharmaceutical or be that, what's the other word I'm looking, controlled substances or street drugs. They're all the same thing. Technically, they're all the same thing. I mean, legal over-the-counter drugs are actually street drugs if you think about it, because we can go into the pharmacy and we can buy them just right at the street corner. So a person can experience a traumatic brain injury from the drugs that they take. I believe that. Absolutely, I believe that. And so, yeah, especially with side effects and things being mixed, and and it can leave a person paralyzed. So I don't know where they would get help for that, because of the fact that um, you would have to go to physical therapy. And so I was just trying to find out from Raunock you have if you have any movement at all yourself to take care of yourself, or if someone has just abandoned you. Um, and so I hope you're not abandoned. I mean, well, you must not be, because you're on a computer right now. So maybe you have. I'm hoping that you have someone who's helping you right now. With you being on the phone. Mr. 12 Gates says Bill Clinton is evil. He was there all the time, and guess what? Even Tom Hanks. Oh, they were at Epstein Island. Oh. Well, and that was the one that wasn't that the one that was uh, Little Saint, didn't they call it LSJ, Little Saint James, or something like that? Epstein Island was Little Saint James. Um, okay, I don't have my, what am I missing here on my phone? Oh, I'm missing my all messages. That's what I'm missing on the phone. Okay, now I see. I have to do that for myself to get the all messages on. Either that, or I end up with just part of the messages. I just can't type anything, which is kind of strange that I can't type anything into my phone, into my own comment section. Now, is there any other insight related to Epstein and what's going on? Anyone have anything else, or are we putting it out in bits and chunks? That's okay that we put it out in bits and chunks, because I think that makes more sense for everyone. So we all have different stories to talk about. We all have little bits and chunks of the Epstein story. And I've always heard that, because they're connecting. Well, oh, Steve Bannon is involved. Steve Bannon is up there. This is what I just saw. Steve Bannon's secret Epstein videos, the tales and tapes. And there is a picture of Jeffrey Epstein right next to Steve Bannon. The sell-off of Jeffrey Epstein's tainted homes and where the money went. This is from Forbes. That's from Forbes. And the Hollywood Reporter has a story. I'm reading the titles. I'm not reading the stories, because I don't want to cross too far over. Now, Google does read the headlines. That's what Google reads, is the headlines. And so I'm just reading the headlines kind of as a mishmash, so we have an idea of what these stories are. If anybody wants to go read the stories, Jeffrey Epstein is a very hot topic. And so I just wanted to put a little bit of this out. Amid Epstein fallout, the Trump administration turns to other MAGA grievances. So the Trump administration is avoiding Epstein, whereas somebody else is pushing Epstein very heavily about some crimes and corruptions and things that are taking place within the realm of the elite, the elitists. Now, PBS, what is publicly known about Trump's year-long relationship with Jeffrey Epstein? Oh, public broadcasting service. Good grief. I want to look at this one. Public broadcasting service has a story about Jeffrey Epstein. No, I don't want to read. Oh, I remember seeing that picture. Let's see. Who is Jeffrey Epstein? How did Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump's friendship begin, according to Broadwater? When was the last time Trump said he spoke to Epstein? What was Trump's reaction when Epstein was arrested in 2019, according to this piece? Why did Trump and Jeffrey Epstein become rivals, according to Broadwater? Oh, so this is like an educational type of a thing. So it's got the who, what, where, when, why, and how. So we've got the who, what, where, when, why, and how. And then a focus on what did you know about the Epstein case prior to this lesson? And why do you think Epstein's case has stayed relevant for so long? I've been asking myself, when are you going to release Epstein's files? Drugs build the American currency. That's why they haven't gotten rid of the cartels. So it says, when are you going to... I don't have the Epstein files. Are you asking me, Baba Roga? Are you asking me when I'm going to release the files, or is this for someone else? Because I don't have the Epstein files. If you're actually asking me or posing that to me, I don't have the Epstein files. I mean, I think somebody else has the Epstein files, not me. But that's how your question is, when you're gonna release the Epstein files. I don't even know who would do that, or what the Epstein files are, or what they entail. Okay, so Prince Andrew is corrupt, and I kind of had forgotten that Prince Andrew was on Epstein Island. I mean, isn't that a partial list right there related to Jeffrey Epstein? So Bill Clinton was on the list. Bill Clinton would have been on the list. Hillary probably was on the list. Prince Andrew was on the list. So these are just all people who had visited Epstein Island before, right? I guess that's my take on it, is that there's all these yeah, but there's still something else going on that I'm missing. Something else related to Jeffrey Epstein. I can't quite put my finger on it. Exclusive. Jeffrey Epstein's friends sent him brawdy letters for a 50th birthday album. One was from Donald Trump. An accuser's story suggests how Trump might appear in the Epstein files. Department of Justice contacts convicted Jeffrey Epstein accomplice Ghislaine Maxwell. So AIPAC is to blame for keeping the files hidden. Well, isn't AIPAC some sort of a government-funded something or another? Oh, AI PAC? Artificial Intelligence PAC? I didn't know there was an AI PAC like that. House could override Mike Johnson and force Jeffrey Epstein's vote. Oh, so the Congress is involved with this now? Speaker Mike Johnson to shut down House early amid Jeffrey Epstein drama. I have not heard any of this going on. This is the first I've heard this, because am just not watching anything at all. And I had absolutely no idea that the House was set to vote on Jeffrey Epstein. How the Supreme Court may play a role in the Jeffrey Epstein saga. Federal prosecutors asked to meet Jeffrey Epstein associate Ghislaine Maxwell. Maria Farmer, Jeffrey Epstein's accuser, details Donald Trump's interaction. Now it's Mike Johnson quit work early to give Trump space to deal with his Jeffrey Epstein. Oh, shame on Mike Johnson. He quit work early to give Trump space to deal with the Jeffrey Epstein problem. That is funny. Okay, now Trump has two people to be mad at now. Now this morning, Donald was mad at Jerome Powell because Jerome Powell is dragging his feet with the interest rates. Donald does not like that. Now Mike Johnson, he just quit work early, so he can just decide, nah, we're not going to take a vote. Or Mike Johnson could even have a doctor's appointment or something like that. And so he just quits work and to give Trump time to deal with this Jeffrey Epstein problem. So now Trump should have two people he's mad at. I bet Trump is going to go after Mike Johnson here soon to try to get him out of office too. AIPAC is a Jewish government, and Jeffrey Epstein was a filthy rich Jew. I didn't know that Jeffrey Epstein was Jewish. I had absolutely no idea. It wouldn't have mattered anyway, what his religion was. It wouldn't have mattered to me. Um, Something happened to him that they're hiding. Something nefarious happened to him. And, I don't believe the story that came out about Jeffrey Epstein. Something criminal happened to Jeffrey Epstein. Criminal in a big way. Well, I read an article the other day that said Epstein Island has been sold to someone else. I don't know if that's true or not, but I read an article that said Epstein Island has been sold to someone else. Now, there's another person on Reddit who says, well, shouldn't the victims of Jeffrey Epstein get a portion of the proceeds if the island ever gets sold? Well, the island was sold, but the victims never came forward. And so the person on Reddit was expressing, well, please bring forward the victims of whom the victims are, who Jeffrey Epstein offended. And do I support? Do you want me to just kind of shut the video off and walk in another room and tell you that it's buffering? Will I go to surf on a different app for a while and let it buffer, or do you want me to tell you no? So which one would you like? Do you want a straight up answer, which I've said before and I'll say again, that no, I don't support Donald Trump? Or do you want me to just kind of evade the question and I can exit out of my YouTube app? I can go surf for something else on the internet for about 2 or 3 minutes. I can go to the bathroom, do something else, get a drink of water, and then come back and pick up my live stream again. But in the meantime, my app is buffering and circling because I did it myself. It's not actually YouTube doing it. But the thing is when I lose my signal, I know that I can pick it back up again as long as I don't let it go too long. If it goes too long, then it's going to just time out. Mr. 12 Gates says, no, it does matter. That's the thing. If you dig deep in the rabbit hole, they are nasty, bad people. Yeah, I agree with you. Let's see, 12H21, 12H21. I agree with you, they are nasty, and that's the money people, because they always say follow the money trail, but if you follow the money trail, they go after people who want to take down their money supply. Okay, so 12H21, I just came in. How is this supposed to know? Why are you so pissed? Why so intolerant? Who is intolerant? Who you're talking about? Elon Musk's phone usage time is 2 minutes. Mr. Gage kicked out of 109 countries 1,030 times. Hitler sent them packing to Palestine. Now look at the place. I'm not pissed. Do you guys think I'm pissed about something? I just asked about Trump and you went all ballistic. All I said was no. I gave you 2 answers with Trump. You said, do I support Donald Trump? I said, do you want me to just exit out of the app, out of the YouTube live stream for a few minutes so it starts buffering and throttling? Or do you want me to just tell you no? So I gave you a straight up answer. You were asking, do I support Donald Trump? And I said, no, I don't. I never did. I never supported Trump. Why would I? I never did support Trump. And this is the stuff you guys were putting out back in 2016. I've seen these stories before. You were putting these stories out, and it's like, well, I don't know how he ended up with Donald Trump. I just asked about Trump and then you went a bit all ballistic. What does it mean to exit out of the app? Okay, okay. I'm going to be here. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. Now you guys watch. Watch what I do. I might be able to, I should be able to get back in, but watch what I do here. I'm going to lose my own signal. So you guys know that not everyone is losing their own signal. It does happen from time to time. But then I'm going to try to get back on, okay? So you guys watch this. Can you guys hear me again? Do you want another example? Do you see what I did? I just exited. I just shut the app off for a few seconds. So this is a feature that I knew about. I learned about it actually. I don't know how the buffering symbol was supposed to answer the question. Well, you're telling me we're talking about two different things. Okay, I mean, we're talking about two different things. You're telling me that I'm angry for some reason. And so what I said was that I can exit out of the app and just not answer the question. So I can just, exit out of the app for a few seconds and I can avoid the question. And when I come back, I can hope you've forgotten about asking me a question that I really don't want to answer. Or I can just say no. I don't support Donald Trump. Which answer would you like? Well, right now you've gotten both of them because I exited it out of the app to show you how that works, how YouTube will pick the signal right back up again. That's a pretty cool feature that YouTube did because at one time when we exited out of YouTube, we had to start a whole new live stream. But YouTube made it so that we have a little grace period, a little bit of a leeway time when we lose our signal. We don't have to start a whole new live stream. And I think that's a really cool feature right there. And I also told you, no, I don't support Donald Trump. Okay, you guys, why do you think I'm angry about what? What am I angry about? Okay, 12H21 says, why so angry? Do you need a hug? I sure could use a hug, yes. Okay, I'm angry. Oh my God. I don't want to, I don't want to deal with this shit. This is some bullshit. Am I supposed to be Donald Trump? Okay, I'll be Donald Trump. I'm going to be Donald Trump for you guys. Oh my God. I'm so tired of these people. I don't want to hear from any of the media. I don't want to hear any of the media. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're talking about. No, I don't want to hear them. They're lying. They're after me. They're after me every day. I don't want to hear from them. It doesn't matter what I do. They come after me. The government's coming after me. They're always after me. They're always out to get me. They're always out to get me all the time. Doesn't matter what I do. The media's lying. I'm not talking to any of those liberal lefties. I am not talking to any of them because they're lying. They don't ask questions that I want to answer. They don't even ask questions I know anything about. I don't know anything about those questions that they're asking me. I mean, they don't even hand me a list so I can read and look at the questions that they're going to ask me in advance. And so it's like, now I have two other people. I got Corrine, what's her face? The blonde lady that looks hot like my daughter. Yeah, I do Corrine. What's her name? Not Corrine. Carolyn Levitt. Yeah, she's hot like Ivanka. I'd do both of them. If Corrine was my daughter, I'd do her too. Yeah, both of them would make really pretty babies. My daughter, Ivanka, and Corrine, or Carolyn Levitt. And even Tammy Bruce. She's an old battle axe, but she's talking about stuff too. I don't even talk to either one of them. I don't even talk to Carolyn Levitt or Tammy Bruce, but they're on TV talking about me all day long, and I haven't had any conversation with any of them at all. No conversations with Tammy Bruce or Carolyn Levitt, and they're talking about me all day long as though we just are on the phone all day long and having all these conversations, and they know what I'm doing. And I'm holed up inside of this hotel in Zimbabwe, and they don't even know that I've left the country. I don't even know how I got into Africa. You're genuinely curious to see who is next after Trump. I'm Australian, but I really do feel for America. It used to be such a great country. This took an ugly turn. You wanted an angry Donald Trump, didn't you? You were asking for angry Donald Trump. No, I'm not talking to you in the press corps. No, you lie too much. You in the back. I'll talk to you in the back today. You look like new meat. You look like you just graduated out of college. I'll talk to you. You look like you just graduated out of college. You're probably stupid, right? That's probably what it is. You're stupid. You don't know what you're talking about. I don't like your questions. The next time you come into the press room, I want to know what the questions are in advance so I can prepare and take some mental notes and give you. I don't even need the questions because I'm just not going to answer the questions I don't want to answer. That's how it's going to be. Because I'm just not going to answer the questions I don't want to answer. I'm going to sit here and I'm the president and I can filibuster and I can just say, no, I don't like your questions. Go on. Get out of the press room. Go on. Get on out. You're censored. I don't want to talk to you. Don't come back. I don't want you turn in your press credentials. I don't want to hear from you anymore. I absolutely know. I don't want to hear from you. Get on out of here. All of you got to go. If you can't ask the questions that I want to answer, I don't want to talk to you. And you should know by now, the questions that I want to answer have nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein. Just forget about that. We don't want to hear about Jeffrey Epstein. That's in the past. The man is gone. He's buried. It's done with. I don't want to hear about that anymore. And we could play that same scenario with Stormy Daniels and E. Jean Carroll, that because he doesn't want to be asked those questions, because he's in avoidance, because his plausible deniability, his narrative is being challenged. That's why his narrative is being challenged. But I just don't want to hear from you. If you're going to ask me those questions, no, I don't want to talk to you. Now, if you guys remember, if you guys remember, church had a thing of just walk away. Now, it's hard for a lot of people to just walk away, but if you run that scenario through your head enough, and you've been censored enough on the internet, as I have been, then it becomes easy to say, well, it really doesn't matter. That there is truth to that. It really doesn't matter. Just walk away. It's not worth it to ask a question that's going to upset someone that much because they don't like the question. And that's what we see all the time. Now, those of us who have been content creators on YouTube, we've been called the left liberal. They always called Silicon Valley left liberal leaning crazies. That's Hollywood. You guys didn't factor in, there's another element on YouTube who is not left liberal leaning. There's another element of people who try to be center, but they're conservative. Now, I have a belief that everybody has a little bit of conservative in them. Conservative and liberal. Well, what is liberal? If you put on some chapstick, okay, I'll tell you what liberal is. Any mother who has ever owned lipstick and had a toddler, they know what applying a liberal amount of lipstick on a toddler is. And their toddler looks so ridiculous because they put lipstick all over their lips, their whole face, all over their whole body, and then they're completely covered with lipstick all over the place. So that's what a liberal is. A toddler with lipstick. A toddler who applied lipstick all over their whole body. That's a liberal application of liberal. A liberal application and definition of liberal. So what is a liberal? I use the word libido as well. L-I-B. Lib is in there. Libby. L-I-B-I. Um, so it's got that lib. People use the libtard. And, I got tired of actually being called liberal because it's like, you guys don't know me. I'm not liberal. I'm for everyone. I'm a person who sees through the matrix, and I see how people are being hurt. But that's why I had to leave. I had to delete my other YouTube channel that I had, my original one, because I couldn't take the pressure. There was so much pressure coming out of, I guess, American intelligence. I couldn't stand it. And so you really wanted to get rid of the people who were telling you how Silicon Valley works. So much to the point that we have breakdowns. And it's like, for me, it was twofold, because I had the bad marriage. At the same time, my channel was failing. At the same time, I was getting all this pressure and being called a left-leaning liberal who is part of Silicon Valley, who is a spoiled brat. And it's like, fuck you. Go fuck yourself. I am a former military spouse. There's nothing spoiled about a military spouse. Military spouses have absolutely nothing. Okay, Trump on stage. No one is more orange than me. I support orange, bright orange. Very orange Fanta, orange. God bless America. Oh, Mr. 12 Gauge, I have one more for you. Let me share this with you. Are you old enough to remember the orange drink, Orange Crush? Do you remember that drink? Orange Crush? There are banks and there are events from Florida who have an Orange Crush event sponsored by banks. And they are sponsored to sow discourse in places related to events and beaches. And so Trump has kind of taken on the orange thing too. I think the orange thing tied in a little bit with Los Angeles, and it also tied in with the bronzer. The bronzer, when you get the sunscreen, I think it tied in with that a little bit too. I totally agree with everything you wrote there. No one on stage is more orange than Trump. And so it really was a joke at one point where people were putting on bronzer and they were turning kind of an orange tint, which was kind of funny. And my dad kind of accused me when I was younger. I liked to go into the tanning beds because I had a little bit of muscle pains and stuff like that. I just liked laying in the tanning beds because I liked the heat. But I also got tan too. And so my dad, he says, don't you use that tanning bronzer? Oh, you have Sunkissed. You're from Australia. You didn't have that. You have Fanta and Sunkissed. We always get the ass end of things. Well, we had both of those too. Fanta and Sunkissed are both very similar to Orange Crush, which I think Orange Crush has actually going out of business, or maybe it has gone out of business. Oh, Australia, you guys got something else that was good too. Do you have Two Dogs in Australia? A lemon type of a drink called Two Dogs? Because here in the United States, we had a drink and it was called Two Dogs, and it had a little bit of liquor in it. So it was what would be called, it had a really smooth taste to it. It was almost like it was a mix of Patron with lemon in it. And it was, oh my gosh, it was so good. And it was around for maybe about 3 years later, from the year 2000. And then they said that the drink was being sold to someone in Australia. That's where it went. Let me see if what happened to lemon Two Dogs. So this drink was popular maybe, okay, here it is. Okay, the brand Two Dogs Lemon Brew was discontinued by its Japanese distributor, Kirin Brewery, due to declining sales. While the original Two Dogs Lemon Brew is no longer produced, Kirin still uses the fermented lemon from the original recipe in other products like Two Dogs Cocktail Series. The brand was previously owned by Pernod Ricard, who acquired it from the original owners of Two Dogs International. So I thought someone in maybe I'm wrong. I thought someone from Australia bought the brand, but I must be wrong. Um, Two Dogs was brought to the United Kingdom in 1995. Okay, 1995. Let's see here. It's in Wikipedia. Yeah, that's it. It's in Wikipedia. Two dogs. If you, it's an Oh, it says it's an Australian drink right there on the box. Australian original Two Dogs. That was some good stuff. Oh my gosh, it went down so smooth. Two Dogs was ready to drink beverage that was first introduced in Australia in 1993. It went on to become available through the world. It was a lemon flavored alcoholic beverage that is widely considered to have been the world's first brewed alcoholic lemonade. Despite the pre-existence of traditional drinks like Sema paving the way for similar products such as Hooper's Hooch and Mike's Hard Lemonade. I always thought I didn't like Mike's Hard Lemonade. I preferred Lemon Two Dogs because it was smoother. It had a really, really smooth taste to it. Um, well, if you're interested in looking it up, it's just type in Two Dogs Australia. The 19 let's see, it said it was first introduced in 1993, so it was really popular. I think there was a height of popularity in the late 1990s to early 2000, and then the popularity started waning after that. um, so what this says at the end, Two Dogs was brought to the United Kingdom in 1995, where the rights to the manufacture and to distribute the product were originally owned by the cider maker, Marydown, but the distribution rights were sold to Scottish Courage in 1997. I don't know what Scottish Courage is. It's headquartered in Edinburgh, Scotland, which expanded from its home base to become an international business and a beer volumes growing almost tenfold. Oh, the beer tenfolded. That's kind of funny. Yeah, there was a while that beer. Oh my gosh, the alcohol companies, they don't put as much alcohol advertising on right now. But in the 90s, there was commercials all over the place. All over the place. Hooper's Hooch. I've never heard of Hooper's Hooch. It's an alco pop that was most popular during the mid 1990s. The 90s was fun. I'm telling you, I have some good memories from the 90s. The name Hoopers refers to William Hooper. Well, there was a guy named Mr. Hooper on Sesame Street too. If anybody, I'm aging myself again. No, there a lot of generations knew of Mr. Hooper. I mean, because Mr. Hooper was on Sesame Street, so a lot of people have to remember Mr. Hooper. I don't know what his first name was. I just remember his first name was Mr. His last name was Hooper. Inventor of the hot water bottle and manufacturer of lemonade in 1840s, whose trademark was owned by Burton upon Trent-based brewer Bass, launched in Britain in 1995. I tell you, this drink, it was so good. Sometimes it had me wondering if there was not something else in Two Dogs